COVID migration, the great COVID migration. What does this mean? Right now, we have seen a trend in sales that are increasing outside of the city versus actually inside the city. The chart on the left that you see on your screen is the sales that have happened outside of Calgary, and the one on the right is the sales inside of Calgary. And so the ones on the left, there's a big spike there. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think this was a thing. And so when the brokerage in Edmonton reached out to me, their numbers, I don't know if you can see I don't think you can see my mouse on the screen, but that highest orange peak that we have there, that's a 33% increase over last year's July, which is, I think, the green line you can kind of see. And I can send this out. I'll post this in the comments below, so if anyone wants to look at it. But that's a 33%. And then for August, we were a 36% increase, where Edmonton was actually a 66%. Don't quote me, but I'm just going off of memory.
Do you blame them for wanting to get out of Edmonton, though?
Oh. I hope they're not watching. Just kidding. So it's really interesting. And so I don't know. I mean, I think there is a trend, because then what we did is we pulled the numbers for inside of Calgary. So the outside of Calgary numbers, they actually include everything from city center to 100 kilometers out, and not including sales in the city. And then inside of Calgary is 50 kilometers out, so including some areas outside of the city. But again, it's including everything, so it's including Calgary that time. And those numbers, you can see we have a similar peak and fall, but there's a huge rise and increase outside versus inside of Calgary. So, I mean, well, and then we were talking to clients about this, and our agents about this who had clients, and there was probably, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 clients that have made some sort of move from the city, or a city, let's say, like maybe Cochrane, Airdrie, whatever, to something more rural.
Yeah,
compared to where they were.
Yeah, myself, I've had 2 sets of clients in the last 3 months. One client was living in Bowness. They've been renting there. We've been communicating back and forth for the last year, and their search really changed once COVID started to happen. Initially, we were looking at places within Calgary, and as COVID happened, I think their priorities shifted. They started to think about wanting more space, wanting to take advantage of interest rates, wanting to take advantage of a cheaper price. And we expanded their search all the way out to Didsbury and ended up finding them a 3-acre property with a house, lots of space for their kids. They homeschool, just gave them the opportunity to, if they're going to be quarantined or they're going to be stuck at home, they now have this huge piece of land that they're able to run free on, and good for their family, good for their kids, and just overall well-being. They're super happy with the
interesting. And have they already moved out there then?
No, they take possession at the end of September.
Okay, so this has all happened inside of COVID times.
Yeah, like I said, when we were initially looking, we were looking within the city limits, and so for the same price point that they were hoping for, we were able to get them this 3-acre plot with a larger home, 5-bedroom home. Yeah. And really, they're not sacrificing any amenities. Didsbury has a hospital. Yep. They're close to Airdrie for their Costco runs. Yep. If they need anything, they're really only 40 minutes away from the city limits. So they're able to get into town and get the shopping and necessities that they need.
And so was there anything tied with that client? We also have another one too, but either of the clients that have made moves like this, was it tied to work? Them working at home now versus needing to go into the office?
So the first client, the one that we're talking about outside of Didsbury, as there was a shift towards more working from home, he did get clearance from his employer to say, hey, I'm considering making a real estate purchase outside of the city limits. I will still come to the office when necessary, but can I maybe, instead of coming into work 5 times a week, you've seen that I am able to handle my responsibilities and workload from a remote location such as my home or outside of the city. So they agreed to that, and gave them the confidence to move forward. My other clients that moved were going just south of Carstairs, another 3.5 acre piece of land, and he works in Airdrie, so he's 25
Okay.
minutes
Yeah.
into town. And again, just more space, chicken coop. They really wanted the chickens, so.
Now here's the question of the day: is it coo or is it coop?
I said coop, so it
I
must be
know it must be
coop.
coo. I don't know if anyone knows. Let us know because I've always actually wondered that. I don't know. Anyways,
The P is silent.
the
Maybe.
P is silent. And here's my question with this. So if we are seeing this change, and some of it is tied to jobs, and some of it is tied to just more space, kind of getting out of congested areas, that kind of thing. I mean, I have seen this stat in lots of major centers like Toronto and New York
Right.
and LA, but I didn't think it would be something in Calgary. I didn't
Right.
think it would be a 33% type increase that we've
Right.
seen in Calgary. So my thought is, like, is this going to last? Is this something that is going to, is it going to be able to, like, in the next 2 years, are people going to go, oh, I moved too far? Or is it now a reset switch and now there's just things are different?
I think because of COVID and the fact that more and more people are working from home,
Yeah.
spending more time in their home, they want to love their home, and I don't think that that shift is going to change and like claw back a little bit,
Yeah.
because people are looking and going, what's important? My family is important, my community is important, and I want to be in a spot that, people don't like moving as much all that often. So if they
Anyways,
can
yeah.
find a forever home to bring their family up in, and it provides them with enough space,
Yeah.
and provides them with the amenities and the things that they need, I can see that shift continue to happen because of technology, because we are being allowed to work from home more often.
Yeah.
And with the fact that we can do things like this and
Yeah.
Facebook and email and text
Yeah.
messaging, like, I'm sure that's why the people downtown are a little upset that they have leased all these office towers that nobody's coming to
Well,
anymore.
there's another concern, right? I mean, just the fact of vacant space downtown. I mean, the last numbers I heard, and this was probably end of last year, early this year, you would see something like a 25% vacancy rate downtown, something like that. But then talking to some of the brokers that I've known who work the leasing and work the sales and all that stuff downtown, commercial side, they were seeing shadow inventory of being upwards of 35+%. I mean, that's like a third of downtown is just empty. And so what is that gonna, like, that's gonna have to change things for how people are working, because not only, and I've heard it from others too, where they're now working maybe 2-3 days at home or 2-3 days in the office, and so now there's these changes that are happening like that too. And that's just going to change buying behaviors. That's going to change buying patterns. That's going to change people's lifestyle
For sure.
and how they want to live. And so, and even just, and I wonder, and we haven't pulled this stat, but I wonder what it would look like from people buying inner city, being close to the core, versus suburbia, right? So the Evergreens and Silverados and Tuscanies and Nolan Hills and just the two far sides of the city.
Right.
What is happening with those communities and micro trends? Is that going to change over the next 6 months, where people go, wait a minute, I can get more for what I already own? And because there's a lack of inventory right now, and there still could be moving forward, is that going to make it a better opportunity to make that change too?
Right. I think it comes down really to lifestyle, what people want when they, I'm an urban individual. The idea of living outside of the city, although appealing for more space, bigger house, smaller price point, to be out of, the scene that is the restaurant, the entertainment and stuff like that. For me, that's more appealing to be closer to that. But yet I also want a certain style of home and a price point that I can afford. So
and square footage even, or lot size, those things. Yeah.
Keep having kids. So
I mean, you're up to 3.
3 kids, yeah.
Are you going to go for number 4 or 5?
No, 4.
Oh, you are going to go for 4.
Mhm.
Nicely done.
Mhm.
You've heard it here first, folks. I'm going to keep the camera on you. So it's interesting. I mean, it's
Yeah.
an interesting conversation. I mean, and it's funny because we walked into, when I was talking to the writer for the Calgary Herald, he made a comment to me. He said, it's crazy how 5 months ago, 6 months ago, I was writing articles about, is real estate going to survive? How are we even going to like make it through this? What's going to happen? I remember walking into the office going, what the is going on?
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to do? How's this going to work? And here we are, 6 months later. And for us, and it's not just us in Calgary or even just our team. I mean, I'm seeing it across lots of teams and agents and cities across North America where there's this huge increase in real estate.
Yeah.
Is it pent up demand? Is it people just going, wait a minute, I'm going to make the change that I've always wanted to? Is it, I mean, there could be 5 other reasons in there. And it could be a combination of all of that, right?
Well, I mean, we've talked about lots through these sessions or just in the office. There's upsizing, downsizing, and
Yeah.
shifts. You know, people getting into the market for the first time, taking advantage of the interest rates, lower prices, and the opportunity. Because, like real estate's not going to go anywhere. You know, there may be the peaks and valleys that, I mean, that is the industry and our economy. But, you know, I think more than anything, COVID really just had people sit back and think about what is important. And if they're going to be spending more and more time at their home, they need to love their home. So
Absolutely.
if they didn't love their home or were thinking about making a move, they jumped in. Like we did sit on our hands for 3 months as realtors going, what is going to happen? And then the end of May, once government lifted some of the restrictions and allowed us to return to a new normal, things have just been on fire.
Flat out.
Yeah, which has been awesome to see all these people who maybe had the thought of making a purchase and then were a little bit nervous because they weren't sure if things were going to fall off a cliff, and then to see like that's not happening. Things that have, you know, sure, there are some price reductions in some areas of the city, but there's also price increases. But nothing fell off a cliff. So people had that confidence to get in and really take advantage of more interest rates and their buying power.
Totally. Well, thank you for coming in today.
No problem.
And if you have questions or if you have thoughts about this whole great COVID migration that could be happening around Calgary, would love to hear your thoughts, your questions below. But at the same time, I mean, if you're considering making a move up, making a change in this market, let us know how we can help. We're here to help you guys figure that out. So on that note, we're going to sign out for today, and we'll say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. See you guys.